Hey, what's up everybody? This is Brendan Hauser with EVOQ Bike. So I want to talk about lactate clearance workouts and my experience with them for threshold training and increasing your FTP, and then talk about what I think would be a really good block for a lot of athletes in January that is related to this. And my experience with training threshold or trying to increase your FTP, when I was coming up in training, still a lot of people were training with constant power. So we were doing 4x8s and 4x10s and 3x15s, and maybe you do a 2x20 and you do a 20-minute test, and always just trying to pin it, which we now know is really more like tolerating lactate. We weren't working on the equation of how much lactate do you create, how much do you clear, because when that equation gets kind of wonky, that's when you feel that thing on your back like, oh, I almost can't go so hard anymore, and you have to go below threshold to recover. Knowing how well over-unders work to work on that and to work on your clearance capacity, it's important to do those, but at the same time, from the other video that I posted last week about the philosophy of coaching of things that I think are important, varied training and varied stimulus is important. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, it's not great because you're detraining other things. And I do think that you still want to put in some constant power intervals in there, because when I was personally doing a lot of over-unders, it was very odd, but I had a very hard time holding just threshold power. My body was almost waiting for the under, and it was going almost naturally over. I was just in this over-under mindset. And so I think that if you're doing over-unders, do a couple blocks of them, and then you might move into some VO2 max training. I wouldn't make a whole block of training based around just constant power threshold intervals. But when you're doing a VO2 max workout, maybe your Thursday workout, or maybe just on a weekend ride, put in some constant power FTP intervals in there. And I just think it really keeps you sharp with being able to tolerate that lactate as opposed to going over and under all of the time. Now, I've been getting a few questions. I had posted in Training Peaks a couple blocks to help people lay out lactate clearance workouts and over-unders. I made them in very, very small. It's like a $30 thing. And then I made a part 2. And someone said, on Strava, you do all these different over-unders, it seems like. You do hard starts, you do some at this percentage. As someone who got very granular on some of my workouts, you do some at this, how do you decide? And again, variation. And so they said, hey, would you get me some of these workouts? And I said, hey, would you want me to make a plan in Training Peaks of like my top 20? And I'll just put them all in there. Maybe I'll make an overview or a guide that goes along with it to help you understand when to do which ones. Because I personally think like the hard starts are my secret go-to before races, because it's this really hard effort, like you're trying to bridge to somebody, or you're racing with your Cat 3 and now you're racing 1s and 2s. Yeah, they're going to put you over threshold for 3-4 minutes and then make you still go hard. So I think those are really good race prep, and they kind of keep me keyed up in between races. So I was thinking about making that, but something for January that especially for newer cyclists, and I would say that have trained 4 years or less, is the 6x6 block. I've posted on the blog. You can get all the information completely for free. If you are strapped for time and you want to just purchase something where everything's laid out for you in Training Peaks, that's in our store. Why do I think this is good for January? Because it's some light, when I say light suprathreshold riding with the recovery being more endurance. So you're doing 6x6 minutes on with 4 minutes rest, but the rest is at endurance. And then the next week you reduce the rest. So it's a mixture of suprathreshold riding with rest reduction, because then the third week you ride and do a 30 to 35 minute effort, constant power, or you can even undulate it a little bit, but I would say you're trying to set a new 30-minute PR. It is incredible the percentage of people that do this and crush. And the reason I say it's probably for people who are 4 years or under, because you're still making so many gains around FTP. There are a lot of things. I can set, a new PR every once in a while, but my threshold's not going anywhere. I mean, I've been doing this for just too long. Depending on the type of riding I'm doing, I see my numbers fluctuate. If I'm doing more over-under, I see better riding at VO2 max. If I'm doing sometimes more constant power stuff, I can drill it harder for longer over, say, like a 40 or 50-minute interval than if I'm just doing over-under. So you'll feel this and get a sense for this as you continue to train. But when you go and set a new 35-minute PR, this is a great way to do an FTP test without really making just one random test day. You're progressing through this through the 3 specific intervals, and I've got workouts on Thursday that complement this. This does so much in a succinct block of training that you could even do it in February pre-race. But I think you gain so much out of it. You're doing a little bit of Suprathreshold. You're therefore probably getting some VO2 max work from the slow component. I'll make a video on that because a couple people keep asking, like, you keep talking about this, and I read the blog that Landry posted, but like, what's a real life example? I'll give you that. Kind of hitting all these high notes without having to go full send on a VO2 max block. And so it just covers a lot of bases. So this would be a great part of your build phase and pre-race. This is a great way to get ready. I'm excited to see what you do next year. Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 4,000. Please tell a friend about the channel, like a video, send it to somebody. We appreciate all that you do to support us. And I'm excited for 2023. Let's keep getting after it. Get your base training in. Just keep going. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you soon. See ya.